All right. Hey, friends, Peter Burchfield here. Thanks for jumping in on this situation report. You might be wondering what is a situation report? What are we going to be talking about? Well, I'm going to be sharing how we can continue the leadership coaching journey through a lot of different routes in the month of April. And I'm super excited about it because there's a lot to work on in the leadership space. We've got to be working on self leadership and team leadership. We've got to be thinking about business strategies and content strategies. And there's just so much in front of us. We're wondering, how do we get it all done? And the short answer is, you're not going to do it by yourself. You're going to do it with reliable guides. You're going to do it with a future focused community. You're going to do it in an intentional way, but in a relational journey context where you actually see yourself making progress and you're motivated to keep going, keep growing. And so I'm just going to kind of share what I've been working on behind the scenes. You're going to see my own progress with this leadership preparedness project, and you're going to hear about the ins and outs, the ups, the downs, all of the above. I'm speaking specifically to those of you who have already been a part of this journey. You have been involved either in my podcast or the course, Pioneer of the Year, or one of my coaching rounds, whether that was the Prepared Leader Challenge or Future Focused Leadership Mastermind or one-on-one coaching, whatever it is. I just want to say thank you. A lot of appreciation for you. And so we're just going to have fun talking about the month of April, what to look ahead to, how to prepare, and again, share with you what I've been working on with this leadership community in mind. So let me just set up so we can take off from here. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for listening. We're going to get started. And so this is actually my first round to do a situation report. I've wanted to explain to y'all what I've been working on and help you zoom out, see the bigger picture of how all of these different pieces of content, how all these different calendar commitments actually fit together to help you make real progress in your life and in your leadership journey. And so if we haven't met yet, my name is Peter Burchfield, and I'm here to pioneer with you. As a pioneering leader, going on almost 2 decades, and now serving other leaders in the coaching space, I really am committed to help leaders be better prepared and more fully present to lead well in the midst of transition, in the midst of disruption, and obviously in the context of expansion. And, leaders have so many challenges, and, there's a lot of things that we can learn, but there's just stuff we're not ready for. And so no leader wants to feel unprepared. They don't want to be unprepared for a meeting. They don't want to be unprepared for a new challenge. And they definitely don't want to be unprepared if a big opportunity comes and they miss it. And so leaders need to realize that they're on this wild adventure, this journey into this wilderness kind of workspace. I call it the future frontier. It's basically the uncharted chapter ahead. We've never been this way before as leaders. Doesn't matter how much tenure you have, how many trials you have gone through. I think all of us would agree that we're living in some of the most disruptive times, and they're disrupting industries that we would have never thought, was possible. And so that's why I really put a shift in my own thinking and in my coaching work from this idea of, personal productivity to leadership preparedness. And so all of the content that I put out, whether it's on-demand content or live coaching, it really does come through the filter of leadership preparedness. We're going to explain what that is in a second. And it shows up in coaching format, like trainings and podcasts and one-on-one and team trainings. But it also shows up in on-demand content as well. So I am committed to help leaders be better prepared. And I really see it as a journey. A lot of leaders, they go to the conference, they get the book, they join the mastermind. They're there for the moment, but there really are a lot of frustrating lessons to figure out on your own in your leadership journey, particularly if you're pioneering something new, if you're going for something that's different. You might be an entrepreneur, you might be a solopreneur, you might really be established in one leadership role, but you're branching out and you're launching or leading new initiatives at the same time. All of that can add its own complexity, and it feels like you're on this big hike. And that's kind of the metaphor I use for this coaching is you're out there hiking in the wilderness, and you've got to be prepared. You've got to have the right mindset, the right skill sets, the right tools, and even the right relationships to partner with you on that epic journey ahead, that leadership journey that you're going on. And that's what pioneer leaders do. So I wanted this to be more of a journey, and that's why I keep showing up. I keep showing up with content, and coaching, and I want to help you go further with your leadership preparedness. And so just because this idea, leadership preparedness, is original, I want to explain it a little bit more because, there's so much talk out there about leadership development, personal growth. So what is this? How is it different? How is it helpful? Leadership preparedness is the future focused work of preparing leaders to pioneer the next phase. And this is how I frame up the whole idea. Number one, be honest. Most leaders are too preoccupied where they are to prepare themselves and to prepare others for the next phase. And this is actually part of the job, right? You've got to have one foot in the future and one foot in the present. And that's how you make progress is you're putting out fires, you're staying focused on operations, you're thinking strategically. It's just one of the skill sets of being a prepared leader. And yet, so many times leaders actually get promoted into a version of success that overcommits them, overextends them, overworks them, overwhelms them. And that's where they get stuck in what I call the repeat year cycle, that they're preoccupied where they are. And it might be just a lack of awareness. It might be just a really intense phase or stage in their life. But for whatever reason, they have shut down and they're just hunkering down and they're more in survival mode than anything else. And they're not really dreaming and they're not creating and they're not leading into the future anymore. And that's sad because leaders are needed and people count on leaders to actually navigate and create the future. And if leaders get too preoccupied with themselves or their problems or whatever, then they're not fulfilling the core function of their role, which is to help people navigate through that unfamiliar terrain, to go on either a journey of transformation or to arrive at a specific vision in mind, and to actually help them move on with their life, either personally or a part of a community. And so that's really the danger that I'm trying to call leaders to kind of perk their attention to say, hey, take a audit of your own thought life. Are you being, too preoccupied with where you are right now? Or are you, actually giving yourself margin and momentum to push ahead and to keep leading with the next phase in mind? not just where you are today or tomorrow, but what is the business going to look like, in 9 months from now? What is the community going to look like in 3 years from now? What is your ministry or your movement going to need to succeed in the next generation? And those are the kinds of thoughts that leaders enjoy thinking about when they're rested, when they're at a conference, when they do a retreat. But being strategic and actually putting in the future work is a major part of what leadership preparedness requires. So, what happens when we get too preoccupied where we are? Uh, Executives can feel unprepared. Something comes unexpectedly, something always comes unexpectedly, and unprepared leaders are not ready to deal with those uncharted choices. There's two big things that hit us, I think, often, which is number one, shortcomings in our own team, or leader shortages. And what I mean by that is when the rubber meets the road and you're really counting on your team to, throttle ahead, to put the pedal to the metal, to really get needed, powerful results for the organization. Uh, if the team has not been prepared, if the team has not been cared for, coached intentionally, that team just cannot give what they don't have. And so, it's starting to buckle and break at the seams. You start seeing it might be character flaws, it might be relational dysfunction, it might be mismanagement, miscommunication. There's all of these shortcomings that start to get exposed when the pressure gets put on. And when leaders become too preoccupied where they are, then they are unprepared to deal with those team shortcomings in the moment. And, to use a metaphor, it's like you're driving your car on the highway and your car starts breaking down and you say, "Oh no, I wish I had done the maintenance when it was convenient, when I could have just taken it to the shop for the annual, fix up, tune up, whatever, instead of waiting and, ignoring all of those warning signs on the dashboard. And now I have to have, roadside assistance because this is a crisis." And so leaders have to be preparing themselves, but they also have to be preparing their teams. And without leadership preparedness, there will absolutely be shortcomings in the team. Some can be repaired, some could be fatal for that team. And so it's really important. And I know you're saying, "Peter, this is super encouraging. Tell us something nicer." But I am telling you something that you need to hear, something that is going to make you empowered, something that is going to help you be a reliable leader for those that are trusting you to go on the journey ahead. The other thing that happens when we get too preoccupied is we're unprepared to deal with leader shortages. And this is so sad, but it happens so often. We assume that our organization is always going to have the leaders to take it into the future. And so this can be for new ventures, new opportunities. It can also just be the cycle of organizational change and getting new leaders in those roles. And so this is a big deal as well. Uh, what happens with that if we're not prepared to deal with team shortcomings, leader shortages, then the organization really hits a crossroad. And that crossroad is that every organization is just one generation away from either a hopeful future of pioneering again or settling in a lonely past. And it's my conviction that an organization has to have fresh pioneering leadership in every generation of that organization in order to keep thriving. That there really is no textbook of how to do what you do, whatever industry you're in. You might be a business owner, you might be a content creator, you might be a ministry leader, you might be an executive, a founder. These are the kind of conversations that we have, not in the day to day, but again, that's how we can get tripped up, because ultimately the leader's responsibility is to prepare the future for the people they lead and prepare the people for the future that's coming at them. And so a lot of times the work we do is not put, front and center until something necessitates a leader. And that's when you're like, oh man, why didn't we think about this sooner? And so that's that proactive, future focused, intentional, strategic stuff that every leader needs to be skilled up on. And you might say, well, I'm not a strategic person, and that's okay, but you need to have the skills to navigate and create where you're going next. And that's why pioneering leaders are really the community that's growing here. People that are doing things differently, people that want to create something new, something unique, something needed. You have a message that needs to be heard. You have a mission that matters. You have a community that is counting on you. You have a vision and a version of the future that's going to help your organization be hopeful and not feel helpless. And so that's why I'm, really passionate about talking to this group of people, the pioneering leaders, because they know how to navigate and create the future of what they do. And that's what we need. We need more pioneering leaders. We need more leaders that are prepared to take on those uncharted choices. And so this is kind of where we get into April. How are we going to keep working on our leadership preparedness? Well, I've committed a big chunk of every week to serving this future focused community. And I do it in a variety of ways. I wanted just to share some education, and this is more of a behind the scenes look. So you can see, what is Peter talking about? What is Peter working on? How is he, serving? And I just want you to know, I realize that every leader is at a different stage in their progress, in their journey. And I have the privilege of working with leaders at each point of that spectrum. Um, I get to work with young adults who are emerging leaders, and they're figuring out their career path, and they're leveling up, and they inspire me. And I get to just help them with things like self-leadership, and then start creating space where they can show up in more of a leadership light. And and so I understand what that's like, to work on self-leadership and to get your time mapping correct, and to get in rhythms that help you become successful and sustainable in the mission and the work that you are committed to. But then, I can jump in a little bush plane and fly over the future frontier. And I'm working with founders, and I'm working with organizational leaders that have been really seasoned, really battle tested, 20, 30, 40 years. And I have the privilege of being in those rooms and being a part of those conversations as well. And so, just because of my own leadership journey, I've had a real gift of just exposure and experience and perspective that helps me listen from different parts of the leadership journey, and also speak to those different challenges that are going on. And so I kind of feel like I'm a dude in the middle who's on my own leadership journey, but I'm able to serve different points of that spectrum. And so I really want to encourage you, no matter where you are in your leadership journey, we all need to be preparing for the next phase together. We cannot take the future for granted. We have to take responsibility for our own thought life, our own choices, our own interactions. And we've got to be reliable leaders that our teams and our communities and those that we serve can count on. And so there's three places that I just keep showing up to serve. Some of this is free content that's going out. Some of this is on-demand content, and then some of this is one-on-one or team or group-based coaching. And so I just kind of wanted to show you what I've been working on. Hopefully you can resonate with it and jump on, and just jump in wherever you can. The first thing is the podcast. The podcast is called Prepare to Go There. It is a leadership preparedness podcast. It's all about introducing people to the importance of their own leadership journey and helping them begin to identify with the future work that they've got to do. Specifically, I have uploaded some new episodes on Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you'll find it there as well. And you'll see I'm rolling out new content for season 4. So I'm very excited. Prepare to Go There. The podcast, we're back in content mode. And the reason I took a break was to retool. I wanted to figure out, how can I serve leaders who need more of an on-demand style. And so what you're going to see is bite-sized content that can help you either in a commute, or when you're walking, or you're washing the dishes, or you're just eating, and you just need that context to stay focused on this leadership preparedness. You'll see there's new episodes here, but I want to show you a little new feature. This is something new that I'm doing with this coaching community. I've got free trainings out there, and you may or may not know about it yet, so I want you to see it. There are 2 free trainings that I've launched in this new format. The first one is called Leadership Landscapes, and the second one is called Expansion Era. Now, Leadership Landscapes is on this podcast, or rather this YouTube channel, and then the Expansion Era is on audio only. And what I've done is I've created this new model of coaching called Trailhead Trainings. And basically, it's connecting the free content with free email content as well. So it goes directly to you. And instead of getting, pulled into this really long email newsletter, where you're always getting advertisements and things, I wanted to deliver really concise coaching straight to your email. And it would be focused on the topic that you resonate with. So you're not just getting the whole buffet and, feeling kind of fed up with why are all these emails coming to me. Instead, you get to opt in and out on the email trail that resonates with you. Now, each email trail has a start and stop. Generally, you're going to get 4 or 5 emails, but it is really packed with more in-depth coaching content. And so I want you to know about that. For example, this one is your expansion era. You start this trail, this training trail on the podcast. So you listen to it. I think it's about 20 minutes. And then if you want to go deeper, there's actually 5 more videos of me explaining your expansion era. We'll actually take you through in-depth trainings. And so you can get free access into that. And I just want to serve leaders. And many of you say, hey, I'd love to show up for an event. I'd love to do one-on-one coaching, but it's just not the right time. And that's fine. But you still have to do something about your own leadership preparedness. And so I just want to serve and resource you. And I love sharing content and ideas. And so again, routes for everybody. Please let this coaching journey serve you as well, because we all need to be getting ready for our next phase now. Here's another example. The other training I talked about is the Leadership Landscapes. You'll find that free training on my YouTube channel. You click that button, and then look here in the description, it says go further with an email trail. And so that's kind of the new development for the podcast, that you're going to get content in YouTube. You're going to get content in the podcast, the audio podcast, but now you're also going to get in-depth training content that goes even further in the email trail. Okay, so I'm really, really excited about that. Honestly, I don't think I've seen anybody in terms of online world kind of do this kind of format. And so it's a bit of an experiment for me, but it's worth it. And I'd love for you to go on an email trail. Tell me how that experience goes. And if you're live and you want to give a recommendation, what kind of training would be helpful for you as a leader for your context? And if you're watching the replay, you can also put a comment at the bottom of this video. I would love your input on training content, free trainings that would be helpful for you in your leadership journey. Okay. Also, I'm really excited. I launched my second challenge. Challenges are a great way to interact with your community in a live format. It is kind of similar to this. The only difference is I'm not bringing content. I'm actually just giving you a behind the scenes look of what I've been working on. But I did my second round of this challenge. I call it the Prepared Leader Challenge. The heart is to share the 5 decisions that every leader needs to make to be prepared for their team. And every team is wondering from their leader, where are we going? And so these 5 decisions are necessary, and it's future focused work. And so that's why many times it gets overlooked, it gets neglected, it gets delegated in a unhelpful way. And then leaders and their teams are going through unnecessary friction and frustration because they just didn't make a clear decision in these 5 areas. And so I don't want you to be indecisive. I want you to be decisive. I wanted to guide you through a process to work on that 5-part plan. And so I did my second round. It was a lot of fun. You'll actually see that video on this YouTube channel, but I need to let you know I'm actually taking that video down. Okay. So if you want in on that Prepared Leader Challenge replay, watch it sooner than later, because that video is actually going down in the next few days, and it's going to get repurposed into a challenge format. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But there it is, that video right there. You have to go to the live tab. So you're not going to see it on home or videos. You'll see the Prepared Leader Challenge on live. Okay, this is next. Let me go back a second. The Prepared Leader Challenge is going to become kind of the thought process behind it now. Again, this is all happening in real time, but the thought process is it's the bridge between Prepare to Go There and my course, Pioneer the Year. And so it's one of the ways that I can invest into this community with the kind of the core ideas that are needed for leadership preparedness. And I'd love for you to jump in on these free trainings. They are powerful. It's a big experiment. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And please jump in the next Prepared Leader Challenge. It will help you. It'll help you show up to your team, to those meetings, more prepared. You'll feel more confident because you're going to be organized, and you're going to be able to actually deliver the right decisions that your team needs to go into the next phase, whatever that is. It could be month, quarter, year, or chapter. Okay. Something I'm working on right now behind the scenes. I'm so excited about sharing it with you. It is a live masterclass. The difference between the challenge and the masterclass: the challenge is free, and it's going to be introducing people to both leadership preparedness as well as my course. And then now this live masterclass is happening kind of theoretically after the course. So after you have that foundation of how do you actually go through the repeat years and make it to new frontiers, now we go a lot deeper. We talk about those 5 modules in depth. And so I'm going to just be showing up with more content, new trainings. This right here is a live masterclass for leaders. It's all about leading well. And let me see. Yeah. Okay. It's all about leading well when life gets away from you. And, Pioneer of the Year, which I'll talk about in a little bit, is really helping leaders with life planning and leadership, and helping them get organized personally with their calendar, with their productivity, with their leadership, with their communication, their decision making, delegation. It's really the entire tool set that you need to take on unfamiliar territory as a leader in this modern age. So that's the course, and it does an amazing job of giving you the whole journey from self leadership to team leadership to pioneer leadership, and then it casts vision for generational leadership. So it takes you on that whole journey, but now we've got to get tactical. And I wanted a space in this coaching journey to kind of do workshops with y'all and take you through my own process, show you how I do weekly planning sessions, show you how I organize my digital files and how I actually have a future focused, future proof productivity system. A lot of different tactics and specific strategies that help leaders lead themselves or collaborate well with a team of leaders. And I just couldn't put it all in the content of the course. So this is me actually plussing the Pioneer of the Year course. And I'm really excited about this project. I'd love for you to jump in. I'm doing the first live masterclass in 1 week. It'll be next Thursday. And if you're watching the replay, jump in if you have time. If you're seeing this way after that point, that's fine. This is actually going to be an ongoing thing. I'm calling this series of masterclasses Pioneer the Year with me. Let me see if that's the, yeah. So Pioneer the Year is my course and on-demand content for leaders that have busy, crazy, demanding lives. And the core kind of inspiration for the course is how do we make uncharted progress in every direction of our life at the same time, where we're not sacrificing our health or our family or our faith just to get ahead in our work. And then vice versa. How would we make progress with our work? How would we make progress with our worldview, our health, our family, our community? How do you actually pioneer? And by pioneer, I mean you're living differently. You're having new experiences. You're actually accomplishing the goals that you have been dreaming about. You're not just stuck in one phase of your life. You're not in a repeat year cycle where you need to go on, you need to move on with your life. You need to reimagine what's possible for you and for the people you care about. You just haven't been able to break through. You're stuck in an extended transition, and that can really be disabling. It can be very demotivating and frustrating, and you feel hopeless after a while. You wonder, is this all it's ever going to be? And it's really motivated by this life principle that comes from the Bible. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but dreams fulfilled become a life-giving tree. And so that's what we have to learn. We have to learn, how do we go beyond that sense of hopelessness and helplessness, and how do we actually lead ourselves into that future frontier that we've been waiting on? And instead of, just kind of feeling like it's out of reach, we actually go for it. And you're going to need mindset. You're going to need skill sets to go for it. And that's what this journey has been for me. That's what this journey has been for other leaders that I get to coach. And so I took all of those lessons in my coaching sessions, put it in a format that we could all enjoy, and it's on demand, and it goes from there. So again, Pioneer of the Year with me is the Masterclass series, where I just keep having that conversation with you. And it's going to work in two different ways. You can just check it out in the in that kind of sign up page. Let me just get back to my notes here for the sake of time. So jump into the course, turn repeat years into new frontiers. You're going to overcome the 5 main challenges that keep us stuck in a repeat year cycle. And then you're going to learn the 5-part framework, how do you actually pioneer in your life? And then how would you pioneer in your leadership approach as well? So you're actually going further in life than you've ever been, and you're accomplishing the new and needed things that are going to give your team or your community, your organization a brighter, braver future. Okay. Pioneertheyear.com is that. Super excited about the masterclass. Check it out. 1 week away, guys. 1 week away from the live masterclass. Pioneer of the Year with me. The theme is Remember the Future. Remember the Future. So really, really good stuff. And I'm going to share brand new content. I've never shared it publicly. And it'll be in this paid masterclass that you can be a part of. Okay. And then that leads to the last kind of place that I show up, talks about the podcast. We've got new content coming out for season 4. We've got new trainings that are available for free. You can get them emailed directly to you. Talked about the course and how, I'm bringing a community of leaders around that course. I got the Prepared Leader Challenge, which is free. And then have the Pioneer the Year with Me masterclasses, which go even deeper into the course as standalone workshops. And then now we go to coaching, which is honestly my favorite. It is absolutely my favorite thing to work with real people who are making a real difference. And so many leaders are willing to go after the thing in their heart alone, but you don't have to do it alone. I know you're willing to, and I know it takes someone to just be the tip of the spear, and it takes someone to be that trailblazer. But really, there are so many other pioneering leaders. You would be shocked to see how many creative, entrepreneurial, motivated, empowering, just change agents are out there. And I just get the privilege of seeing them in action and coming alongside them for their journey and giving them a lot of the transformation that I've experienced and that I've learned and earned in my own leadership. And so coaching is available. All my coaching happens right now on a coaching platform called Pinsight. And it's kind of like Zoom, but basically it allows us to interface in a video chat. And you've got one of two options. You can just do a standalone coaching session, which is great, or we can do a journey, which would be multiple sessions in that context. So there's 2 journeys that I work on with leaders. The first one is what I call the Pioneer Leadership Journey. And this is going to trail the course, Pioneer of the Year. So if your heart and head is working through Pioneer of the Year, you're learning how to get out of a repeat year cycle. You're learning how to really expand your capacity, how to balance your life, how to get your work week to show up in your, let me rephrase, to get your life's work to show up in your work week more often, where you're not just, in that hamster wheel, getting drained in that treadmill of sorts, but you're actually moving towards your life's work in a consistent, intentional basis. That's really what this is about. And I've had the privilege of working with amazing leaders that are just getting started or that really are, getting retooled, refueled to reimagine where they're going next. And transition is tough, y'all. I mean, trying to shift anything is going to have its own complexity and challenges. And so get the tools and get past an extended transition so that way you don't die internally, your dreams don't die, and your motivation doesn't die wandering around in the wilderness, but you actually learn how to cross over and how to inherit the future where you're meant to pioneer. So that is that. And the coaching conversations can go far and wide. I mean, we go in so many different directions with that. I probably need to give better examples, but I've already maxed out on time. So let me just keep moving. There's another coaching journey that I offer, and it's called the Executive Leadership Journey. And this is where I get to work with executives in their organizations. So it's not just about how you are going to show up ready to pioneer, it's how you're actually going to lead your organization into the next phase. And the main way is by preparing leaders. You got to have more leaders that are better prepared to expand your capacity, expand your figurative territory in that organization. And so we deal with these three main things: leadership capacity, um, leadership team culture, and then actually developing a leadership community. So, just to give you context of who I'm working with ministry leaders, I'm working with business owners, I'm working with solopreneurs that want to scale to a business, and just a bunch of other friends in between. And I would love, love, love to have a conversation with you. Obviously, you probably want to try it out. So that's a one-time executive leadership session. And then I don't have a lot of space, honestly, on my calendar for this category, but it is a premium. It's a priority. And that's why I prefer just a few, folks and teams in this context, because I give a lot. So with that said, really consider it, pray about it, and learn more about that. All right. I think that is it. Okay, so now I want to just encourage y'all. Quarter 2 is going to have so many opportunities, and I really want you to have a hopeful mindset so that way you actually see the opportunities for what they are, and then that motivates you to do the future work. Actually prepare to try new things, launch new things, do new things, be willing to do things differently, be willing to meet new and different people that you can serve and add value to, and then they will reciprocate. They will help you as well. In quarter 1, kind of the big buzzword that I was personally growing in was capacity. This idea of how do I expand my capacity to live confidently and lead differently. And so that was a blast to go through that. It continues through really the whole year and the theme of my work. But kind of the new buzzword I'm thinking of right now is territory. And I use that more in a metaphor of a way, but it really is, how are you going to establish where you are and expand to where you need to be at the same time. And so I actually created a free training. It's called Your Expansion Era. So go check that out as well. Now, believe it or not, this is just a part of what I do. I have the privilege of serving my home church in a leadership role. And so I love, serving my community there and doing life there as well. But this is the way that I get to serve leaders. And I know what it's like to be a leader. I know what it's like to work with leaders and to build a team of leaders. And it is very rewarding, but it's also very challenging at times. And so that's why I don't want you to be a pioneering leader on your own. And I want you to find the resources and make the friendships or the contacts that you need to actually show up in the next phase prepared. Put in that preparation. Preparation time is never wasted. And so we've got to be doing our part day in and day out, because you can't just work on this stuff when it feels inspiring. There's not enough immediate gratification to do this stuff. And that's why you have to kick into a different mindset. You have to have future focus. And that future focus is the willingness to prepare for something. And so that kind of takes us all full circle, right? Prepare to go there, be a prepared leader, pioneer the year, and then pioneer the year with me. So I wanted to zoom out, give you the situation report that there's actually a lot of ways you can get great, reliable leadership preparedness for your contacts. So please jump in at any level. If you want to get the email trails, do it. And that might be plenty for you right now. Maybe you want to go deeper and you actually want custom frameworks and specific strategies that are going to help you personally with your time, with your team, with your goals, all that stuff. It's a big conversation. So don't try to do it alone. Um, Leverage this opportunity, please, because if you are future focused, if you're ready to, make the future brighter, braver and brighter, I want to be a part and help you as much as I can. Okay. So this is just situation report. This is what I'm working on. The main thing I would want you to jump in on is get the podcast content that's coming out, and then try to jump in the live masterclass that's coming up next Thursday. Okay. Thanks so much. Let me try to scramble and get some music so that way it feels like a proper outro. Please know I am here to pioneer with you. I will talk to you real soon.